Now why? Why are people so extremely excited about the upcoming horror film, The Black Phone? There are many reasons. I mean, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that it's based on a Joe Hill short story. I mean, you all know Joe Hill of Nosferatu and the Horns fame. And maybe it's got something to do with the fact that Scott Derrickson from Doctor Strange and Sinister is in the directing seat and directing a Bloom Productions horror movie. Not bad. I mean, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that this film on its pre-release scored 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 8 out of 10 aggregate on Metacritic. I mean, the last time a horror movie did anything like that, we got the masterpieces Hereditary and The Witch. But why? Why am I so deeply, quietly excited about The Black Phone? It comes down to 3 simple syllables. Ethan Hawke. Combined with one of the creepiest trailers that I've seen in a long time, and also that title, I'm excited. The Black Phone. Isn't there something kind of simple yet really sinister about that name? And talking about sinister, I've heard this rumor, and maybe you guys have heard this too, is that maybe The Black Phone is going to be a crossover into another Scott Derrickson horror hit, Sinister, as well as its sequel. Like I said, I don't know how true all of that is. Maybe you folks out there can shed some light in the comments down below. But what I do like that there are all these interesting little questions popping up about this movie. I mean, when was the last time that a horror movie had such an interesting buzz going on about it before its release? As previously mentioned, there is a lot more than just a creepy trailer and title to pique my interest here. I mean, the story, to put it mildly, sounds like pure classic horror badassery. I shouldn't have said that. Assery is not a word. A boy abducted by a diabolical serial killer known as the Grabber finds himself trapped in a soundproof room with nothing but a black rotary phone attached to the wall. I mean, just that is enough to send my imagination to some like seriously funky psycho horror places. Now, if you have seen the film's trailer or maybe some promotional stills, then there are some things that you've probably noticed. For one, it's a Blumhouse production, the story is creepy premise, both of which we've mentioned, but maybe you've also noticed something else. That guy in the mask who looks like he stepped out of a nightmare that Michael Myers had after a romantic liaison with Freddy Kruger and Jason Voorhees. Now, from that trailer, there are a few things that I picked up on that may or may not be references to other horror films. For example, the boy in the yellow raincoat could be a reference to Stephen King's It. Or maybe the Grabber's mask has something to do with Sinister, which we've kind of already spoken about. Or maybe that mask is a respectful nod to Lon Chaney's 1927 silent, lost horror film, London After Midnight, which, if it is the case, would absolutely flip my cupcakes. Or maybe Scott Derrickson just happens to be a very big Slipknot fan. But here's the thing, folks. In the beginning of the episode, I mentioned the thing that's getting me really excited about The Black Phone is the film's leading actor, Ethan Hawke. Now, it's not because I happen to follow Ethan Hawke's every move. I mean, I haven't seen all of the actor's movies. It's not because of Ethan Hawke's obvious and considerable talent as an actor, which he definitely has. And it's also not because I am Ethan Hawke's biggest fan, which I happen to be. But, folks, the thing that gets me really excited about this particular actor's involvement in this particular film is this. Ethan Hawke does not do crappy films. Period.
Boy, know that the ride or die.
yes. I hear you folks. I mean, not all of his films necessarily live up to their ambition. But Ethan Hawke does not seem to be motivated by Hollywood fame and big paychecks. He seems to have this knack for seeking out and working on risky and interesting films and with renegade-type directors. And his horror outings in particular prove this. I mean, just look at Sinister, look at The Purge, and more recently, look at The Northman. I think, folks, that Ethan Hawke is at a place in his career now where he wants to challenge the audience. He has a long, illustrious career behind him. He is an older actor. And usually, funnily enough, these kinds of actors become jaded as they grow older. But not Ethan Hawke. I mean, here's a guy that seems to be more ambitious, more hopeful, more focused than ever before. From the interviews that I've seen and heard, and I mentioned this before, he doesn't seem to be motivated by big paychecks or fame, or even being a brilliant actor, which he already is. But he seems to be attracted to the kind of work that pushes the envelope and at least attempts, might not always be successful, but at least attempts to express some deeper level of thought that goes beyond just, as cool as this may be, entertainment and amusement. And I know I'm going on a little bit here, folks, so bear with me, please be patient. But this has a lot to do with and is very relevant to the Black Phone and in a good way. So why does this bode well for the Black Phone? And I so hope that I'm right about this. And please, guys, feel free to drop me a comment down below and tell me what you think about my theory over here. But there is sometimes there's a danger with actors and filmmakers that are as cerebral as Ethan Hawke. The danger is that they sometimes attach themselves to movies that, at least for the layman such as myself, are a little bit too inaccessible. You know, I mean, I've got nothing against small independent movies or art house films. I mean, all of those films, they are influential and they shake things up in their own way, for sure. But just for the audience, they seem to be made for a select few. And for people like me, I often watch these small art house movies and feel kind of unmoved or unchanged. I'm left with a sense of irrelevance. Okay? Again, not all the time. Sometimes this is the case. Now, horror as a genre can suffer a similar fate, but on the other end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Mass-produced, overhyped, and basically as wholesome as a McDonald's cardboard box. I mean, big, nasty, bad, mean movies filled with murder, blood, and guts, and all sorts of explicitories. Sorry, another word that doesn't exist, explicitories, but it'll exist for us. Okay? Filled with all of that, but basically nothing else. I mean, mildly amusing, but instantly forgettable. Not always, but there is that danger. Enter Ethan Hawke, the Sid Vicious of the movie world. When you combine his thoughtful, poetic, cinematic punk rock anarchy with horror's commercial sensibilities and horror's brutality, especially Joe Hill's brand of horror brutality, along with Scott Derrickson's sinister, character-driven flair. Holy shit! That's when you get a recipe for a good kind of disaster. That's when you get the Black Phone. This film's gritty and grainy look, Joe Hill's mean and unflinching story, supernatural overtones set in the real world of child murderers and serial killers, the odd premise, Ethan Hawke's authenticity, or should I say authenticity, and credibility. People, I mean, this film has more promise than Pennywise has red balloons. So, as is blatantly obvious, I cannot wait for the Black Phone. But what do you guys think? You think that I'm being a little bit overzealous, maybe putting a little bit too much expectation on this film? What do you guys think? Are you guys also waiting in great anticipation? And for those of you that have seen it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, but please stay away from the spoilers. And if you like this kind of content, please feel free to bite that subscribe. And talking about content, if you like, go and check out my episode on The Purge, another film starring Ethan Hawke, as well as its sequel, The Purge Anarchy. That's in the link down below. And that's about it from me, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again next week when the moon is full and the horror is bright. I wish you all a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay happy, and most of all, stay horror. Cheers, everyone. Be safe.